166 to repair. 96,000 miles, needs a cam belt, water pump, water transfer pipe still changing. It doesn't red, she's misfiring on one or probably at least one. Does not want to rev really at all. So let's start. Hi, right, this is the second Alfa V6 Busso I'm doing. I've done a water pump and hand belt change on that and the transfer pipe seals. I'm essentially going to do the same with this V6. What I haven't done, I've ordered the parts now because I wanted to make sure that every bolt down there came undone without any giving me too much grief before I spent 500 quid on the bits. So all of the water pump bolts I've eased off and they've come out fine. The idlers have come off. The only one I haven't done actually is a tensioner down there. I've not checked to see whether the tensioner bolts have come out, but I think they're generally okay. So the engine at the top dead centre, it's slightly out of time. This bank isn't more or less spot on. So what I'm going to do is put the bolts in here softly, as it were, just tighten it down a bit, undo the tensioner, take the belt off, and then I shall turn these timing wheels and get the timing on these camshafts bang on, re-tighten them down more so they're really nice and tight, and then I'm going to take the wheels off, take this off and get the water pump done and the water transfer pipe. If that all works out alright, we'll be laughing. I've just tidied up the engine a bit in here. I don't know about, I've used caliper paint on this, but I think it's a bit too shiny. So it looks a bit rough actually. I'm probably going to do this again. Not very happy with it. This is a bit better. Again, the castings are so rough, it's difficult to get a nice finish on it. And then I've polished them up a bit, or quite a lot actually, but they need another polish before I put them on. So that's about it really. This engine actually came apart really well. I wanted to make sure that all the bolts came off because I don't think the customer would have, well basically I don't have the facilities here to take the engine out, and I don't think the customer would want to spend sort of £2 grand on this car really. So we took the view, well let's see how far we get. If it all comes apart nicely, then we'll spend the money on the bits and away we go. So that's the plan. I think it's worked out alright. A bit of a delay with the parts, but Alfa Lusso were brilliant as always. I've got this sort of bits in here. Just took 2 days, had to wait for something, but it's all come, it's all there. Sweet, so now I can get on. Alright, see you then. Good luck. 166 is going back together. This may bite me in the backside, but what I did was I put that rear wheel on, timing wheel on, with the belt round it. Made it easier to get the wheel in. There's hardly any space in there. And I found it very difficult to get the belt out actually, so I thought if I do it this way, at least the belt's around that difficult wheel. I'll have to wait and see how this turns out, but it might be a bit of an unusual practice, but that's what I'm going to go for. The water pump's in. And the small bolt is being put on the far right. It's marginally small, it's about 4mm smaller than the others. What else is going on? Well, that's it really. We're going to put the timing wheels on now, put the idlers on, put the tensioner on, and then thread the belt round. Painted the cowlings, but I'm trying to do it when I'm rushing a little bit and I've damaged them, so I'll have to have another go at those when they're in situ. I've polished up all the flutes and stuff. So yeah, it's put it back together. See you later. Here's another little tip. I suspect we've all got our own ways of doing this stuff, but in there is that nut on the timing wheel, and I've just used this little magnetic thing to hold that washer. I don't know if you can see that actually. Just about see it. We've got a bit of light coming through the bonnet. No, just about see it. But that right there gives you another pair of hands, because we all know how tight it is in there, and that just steadies it whilst I can thread the belt in and the bolt through. Seems to work quite nicely, that actually. It's funny how you live and learn. Right, on the V6 still, another little tip, which I think helped me, is I put a bit of tape on the tensioner, and I painted the little arrow red. You can't really see it in there, but because you put this tool, right, this tension bar, or at least mine's like that, you put that on there and you can't see the bloody mark. So by putting a bit of tape on it and painting that red with a bit of felt tip, I was able to see it much more easily, and I've got it bang on first time. So when I did this, I ratchet strapped this to something at the top, got this tension right, came down here, and I was just about able to see it. On my other V6 I made a fucking mistake doing that, and I've got to take it all apart because I over tightened it, and there you go. That's only the second one I did. Well, first V6 I've done, but this is the second, and it's going much better because you just learn how to get around a few things. Anyway, there you go, might help you out.